Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So today we are going to talk about 3 different topics and we are first going to talk about Neto. So according to multiple sources, they have claimed that Neto is keen on a return to Valencia this summer. Then we also have another report coming out from Super Deporte. Neto would be happy to return to Valencia next season. New Valencia sports director Cesar Sanchez is looking for a goalkeeper as the current one hasn't met the expectations. Neto's current contract ends in 2023. So it's very unfortunate to see that Neto might potentially leave FC Barcelona. And so could we see Neto leave this summer from the club? And my answer is no. But there is always that possibility, and that possibility could grow. And let me explain what I mean by that. So in the summer of 2019, when Neto did arrive from Valencia, Barcelona spoke to Neto and they told him, they're like, hey, you're not going to get the starting spot in FC Barcelona. We also have Marc-Andre ter Stegen. And so Barcelona told Neto, they're like, you're going to be the backup goalkeeper, and Neto was completely fine with that. And it's pretty obvious, right? When you are going to a team knowing that Marc-Andre ter Stegen is in that team, most likely you're going to be a backup goalkeeper. And so remember, in the summer we heard multiple reports on Neto agreeing with these plans. He was saying, I am okay with taking on this role. Now the question is, now seeing the reports that we are seeing today that Neto might potentially leave FC Barcelona, could Neto be unhappy in his current role? Because if we look at the position that Neto was in Valencia over the past 2 seasons, in the 2017-2018 season, he started in 33 matches out of 33. And then if we look at the 2018-2019 season, he started in 34 matches out of 34. And then if we look at the 2019-2020 season, he only started in 1 match out of 1 match. And so that is a drastic change that Neto had to adjust, and that I believe Neto never adjusted to. He went from playing 34 games in 1 season to playing 1 game in half a season. And so my theory is, I don't think Neto really liked this change of playing 1 game in 1 season. Maybe he was like, I was happier at Valencia. Like, wearing this Barcelona badge means nothing to me if I cannot see the pitch or if I can't step foot on the field. And I believe that's how Neto is feeling at the moment. And again, Neto probably thought that he could have felt better at FC Barcelona going into the UCL matches, going to the top of La Liga, but that hasn't been the case. If you're not playing, which is true, right? If you're not playing, then you're not playing, and you don't feel like you're part of the team. And so we have to consider that Barcelona is now also eyeing Onana from Ajax, and now knowing that Neto might potentially consider a move away from FC Barcelona, and knowing that FC Barcelona is looking at a goalkeeper named Onana from Ajax who is 24 years old, could we see Neto exit this summer? And we also have to question his performances. Like, have we been impressed with the performances that he has been putting out on the field? And who do you see replacing Neto at FC Barcelona? So now moving on to the next topic of the day, and we are going to talk about Arthur Melo. So according to GDS, Arthur Melo had an interview and they asked him about the Inter Milan rumors, and this is what he had to say. Thank you. It's an honor for me that they're interested in me, but my stage at Barcelona has not ended. I'm only thinking about Barcelona and I am very comfortable at the club and in the city. Honestly, I see myself dressed in Barcelona colors for many years. I feel very integrated each time. I feel better both physically and with the team's game. Now I am taking the opportunity to fully recover. I'm looking forward for the competitions when it does come back. I think about this a lot. So this is a very huge relief to hear, and I did have doubt that Arthur may not actually make it in FC Barcelona. And there has been multiple reasons why we were seeing Arthur as a player that he might not actually make it at this club, and the biggest factor was because of his injuries. We were saying that Arthur might not be mature enough to take care of himself because he was being injured almost every 3 months. And then we were also thinking that Arthur might turn into a player where he could have been this type of player. And in result, we started to hear reports of Inter Milan wanting to get Arthur Melo and potentially reignite his career. And there were also reports about Arthur Melo being switched for Lautaro Martinez, which I highly disagree with. And for a moment there, it was almost like Arthur was destined to leave FC Barcelona. But finally, right? Finally, we are hearing these news and these words coming from Arturo Melo, and he's saying, no way, I am here to stay. I want to represent the badge. I want to represent FC Barcelona. I am a man of FC Barcelona, and that is what I like to hear. Arturo Melo is a player that's going to be untouchable in the transfer window this summer. There's no way I would want to switch or swap Arturo Melo for any player, even if it's Neymar Jr. or Lautaro Martinez. Arturo Melo is untouchable. He is right next to the players like Marc-Andre ter Stegen, Lionel Messi, and De Jong. So the next topic that I want to talk about is Lautaro Martinez. So according to GDS, they said this: Inter Milan have given 2 names to negotiate Lautaro Martinez with Barcelona. The Italian team plans to count on fullback Nelson Semedo and midfielder Elenia for next season. And so Barcelona continue to try and find solutions with Inter Milan to bring in Lautaro Martinez. And the reason why I want to bring this article in is because of one reason. We do have a journalist, a very credible journalist named Fabrizio Romano. He stated something yesterday, and he said this: Barcelona would not have the problems to find an agreement with Lautaro on personal terms, but Barcelona don't want to pay the release clause, and they don't have an agreement with Inter Milan. His value is at 100 million euros, and the pandemic crisis is the problem. And that is the reason why I want to bring that statement in on what this journalist said, because he is saying that Barcelona do not want to pay the 111, and then we are seeing an article that Inter Milan is willing to trade off 2 players for Lautaro Martinez. So there is that connect between these 2 statements. And so Lautaro Martinez and Barcelona built this relationship where we can safely say that Martinez wants Barcelona as much as Barcelona wants Martinez. So that's not the problem. The problem is the negotiations between club to club. And unfortunately, as much as this hurts me to say, is that we might potentially get another Neymar situation, which means that the only solution to bring a player like Lautaro Martinez in is to trade in 2 players plus cash. And so let's stay on this for a second, right? Because if we do go on this route, and if we do offload 2 players, and those 2 players is going to be Nelson Semedo and Carlos Elenia, I am okay with Semedo leaving the club, but not with Elenia. Because why would Barcelona want to sell one of their most promising midfielders from La Masia? And could we see Barcelona accept a move like this? Because knowing this Barcelona board, they would make a move like this. They would sell one of their most promising players in exchange for Lautaro Martinez. And we always have to consider that this board does not make the best business decisions. And the only solution that I can see, if we are going to trade off 2 players plus cash for Lautaro Martinez, it would be Nelson Semedo and Arturo Vidal. That is the only way I could see it. I can't see Elenia leave. I actually don't want Elenia to leave. I want Elenia to start with FC Barcelona next season. It would be very frustrating to see another La Masia gem go into a different club just because we want to bring in another star. So let me ask you guys this: what are the 2 players you see Barcelona trading off for Lautaro Martinez? What are you okay with? Are you okay with trading off Griezmann and Felipe Coutinho for Lautaro Martinez? Are you okay with trading off Umtiti and Dembele for Lautaro Martinez? Let me know what you guys think about that. So now moving on to the next topic of the day, which is the last topic of the day, and we are going to talk about Quique Setien. And so he did have an interview about 3 days ago, right? I wasn't thinking about talking about this topic because I did not know that it was going to come into light this much. But he had this interview and they were talking about La Masia players. And they were saying, how come we have not seen any La Masia players progress around your time in management for FC Barcelona? And so this is what Quique Setien had to say. They haven't fully convinced me that they should be playing more than what they are doing. We are training in those which we think can make the step up, but we have not found the opportunity to fit them in. The academy players are still lacking some things which are going to make them more competitive, and what we are doing as coaching staff is demanding stuff from them so that they reach the very top level. Then he ended it with this. He said, what do we want? An academy or progress? And so when Quique Setien did say those words, later on, about 48 hours later, we had a report coming out from Sport, and they said this: Setien's comments regarding until now, they, the youth players, haven't convinced me, have not sat well at La Masia, because there is a feeling that there is a lot of talent and little more support was expected. And the reason why this report from Sport really has grown on a lot is because when Setien did come in January, Setien did make it public that he wanted to use the youth and he wanted to heavily use La Masia and bring them into the first team. And us as fans thought that too. We thought that Quique Setien was going to bring back La Masia. Then we even saw pictures of Riqui Poosh training with the first team, and we also seen Quique Setien visit a Barça B match. He was with his other staff observing other players, and we're like, okay, Quique Setien is real business. He does want to bring some academy players into the first team, and we were all very excited. And so the question now is, what did Quique Setien see from the day he was hired until now? Like, what made him change his mind in that time frame? And what made Quique Setien sound so fed up? Because what Quique Setien is basically saying is that these academy players will not bring progress to the first team. And what does this say for players like Riqui Poosh, Alex Collado, and Monchu? And the reason why I point out these three players is because they are the ones that I see are most ready to be into the first team. So what does this say for these three players? And I have been thinking about this, and I came up with this theory that Quique Setien is approaching FC Barcelona like this. I think that Quique Setien is going to these players and he's saying, okay, what is it that Barcelona need? And it's going to be less on who does Barcelona need to promote. I believe that is what Quique Setien is asking from the club. He's not really looking to see who he wants to promote. He needs to see what do Barcelona need right now. Like, for example, we have Riqui Poosh, right? Riqui Poosh has the creativity. He has that final third pass. But we also have to remember that De Jong and Arthur provide those type of abilities also. And if we were to choose two players out of the three, right? If it was Arthur, De Jong, and Riqui Poosh, we would all say that it would be Arthur Melo and Frankie De Jong, mainly because Arthur Melo and Frankie De Jong provide more than the creativity and the final third pass. You know what I'm saying? So they do have the upper hand. So why would Quique Setien want to use Riqui Poosh when he already has that creativity coming from Arthur Melo and Frankie De Jong? And many people have debated. People have been saying that, okay, maybe we could put Riqui Poosh in for Arturo Vidal. But then if we look at this graph right here, right? It says right here, La Liga's best pressers. Vidal is being considered as the highest presser and best presser in La Liga. So would Barcelona want to switch Riqui Poosh for Arturo Vidal, a player who presses extremely high, and he is a player that Barcelona heavily rely on? Because if we do that, that would create a very huge imbalance in the midfield. You would have all the creativity, all the final third passes in the midfield, but you will not have the pressing, the defending, the physical abilities. And that is why Quique Setien hasn't put Riqui Poosh into that team, is because Riqui Poosh's greatest downfall is the physicality, because we already have what Riqui Poosh has to offer. And the same thing can be said about Collado. Then we also have Monchu, which I believe is the best candidate to start in the starting 11, and that is because Monchu has the physical abilities, he has the presses, he knows how to defend, he's very intense. He does remind me of Gante and Vidal, and I'm very surprised that Quique Setien has not pulled on Monchu onto the first team. And I also want to pull out a report that Quique Setien did say in February that I believe is very, very interesting, and this is what he said. We try to think which player we need the most at certain times of the game. With Ricky, there's a lot of players in that position where we would normally play, but Collado playing up front, he's going to get chances. We'll have to see how things go. So let me ask you guys this. Is Quique Setien bringing the right philosophy into FC Barcelona? Because to me, like I said before, it's more about what does Barcelona need, not who does Barcelona need to promote. And the other question that I do want to ask you guys is this: does Riqui Poosh, Collado, and Monchu have what it takes to start in the starting 11? Because again, Riqui Poosh offers something that we already have in the starting 11. They need to offer more, and so does Collado. The only player that I do see breaking into the starting 11 is Monchu, because right now Barcelona is thinking about selling Vidal and Rakitic, and with those players being sold, we will need that physicality back into the midfield, and Monchu would be the perfect replacement. So let me know what you guys think about that. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. That is it for today's Barcelona daily news, and I will see you guys in my next video.